Hey guys, it's HeroBorn 25. Oh, I said 25. I mean HeroBorn here, and today we're going to be going through a guide for Warwick. In my opinion, Warwick is in a brilliant spot at the moment in the meta as a jungler with its extremely fast and healthy clear. Warwick poses as one of, if not the best solo queue junglers, and this is how you play him. Okay, so Warwick's clear for the most part is pretty generic, although it can differ depending on what side of the map you are playing on. So on red side, you want to be starting blue buff, wolves, raptors, elder lizard, and then you'll be going scuttle and top. Now, if you're on blue side, you'll be going your elder lizard, then you'll be going wolves, blue, scuttle, gank. Now, one of them has an extra camp in it, one of them doesn't. The reason for that is mainly because Raptors on your second camp is a pretty dangerous spot for Warwick, and if you're versing a decent jungler, that's probably his weakest period of gameplay when he's trying to tank Raptors, especially against like Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, who are pretty strong in the meta at the moment. Obviously, the tanks won't invade you necessarily, but Lee Sin and Kha'Zix will definitely look to invade, and they're pretty strong solo queue junglers. Um, Make sure you get Scuttle on your gank top as well because that gives you vision behind you. So if you're going to get counter ganked, and it also provides vision for your mid laner and top laner to go aggressive in their lane if they get like side of the enemy jungler. Anyway, that's the clear for Warwick. We'll move on to level maxing next. Okay, so for the maxing of Warwick's abilities, you want to be starting Q, then W, and finally E. But for maxing, you want to go 2 points into Q for the sustain because of the heal. Then you'll be going maxing W, then E, and finally Q, whilst leveling R at 6, 11, and 16. Now, the interesting part here is the fact that you grab your Q last as a max. That's just due to the W helps you gank, and the E is probably like a better ganking tool as it makes you tankier due to the damage reduction on it, and also the fear. You can max Q instead of E, but I highly recommend maxing E instead of Q. Okay, now for the interesting part, we'll be going through Warwick's ganking paths. Like every decent jungler, Warwick poses a greater threat when ganking from behind the lane, as shown here. Basically the tri-bushes of every lane. Obviously, it will be more difficult on a moving champion, seeing as I'm using practice tool here, which kind of makes it really easy, because, you know, the dummies don't actually move. But another strong point about Warwick is his dive potential. Now, this is utilizing this ganking path coming behind the lane as well, because when Warwick comes behind the lane, he can actually jump on and dive the opponent due to his damage reduction on his E and his sustainability on his Q. I highly recommend practicing crush dives when the minion wave actually hits the tower and you dive in as the minion waves hit. Now, this is a good dive as you make the enemy laner lose minions as well as picking up kills and assists for you and your usually solo laners. Bot lane is a bit harder to crush dive, although it can depend on what champions you have in the lanes. Anyway, if you want to be a good Warwick player, you just got to practice dives. Like, I know you're going to lose some games because of it, you're going to lose some ganks because you're going to be way too aggressive, but Warwick is a really, really aggressive jungler, and if you want to play him to his strengths, you're going to want to practice those crush dives. Now, it's easier when you're playing fives because you communicate, but even try solo queue, just ping and let your team know that's your intention and that's what you want to do when you're playing Warwick. Considering Warwick's uniqueness as a champion, there is many itemization like kits you can go to actually be building Warwick correctly. Now during this video I'll be going through 3 separate builds, although they do share the same core that's usually used in most Warwick builds. Now that core is starting Rejuvenation Bead and Hunter's Machete. Then you'll rush Tiamat first back before going into your Cinder upgrade. Tiamat, then into Titanic Hydra. Now, you don't upgrade your jungle item at first, you just sit on your Hunter's Machete and Tiamat. Now this will help with your clear speed, and also it will allow you to solo dragons, take away early objectives. That is probably where Warwick's strength also lies, and what helps him round off as a jungler. Okay, so for the build 1, you'll be going Mercs, Righteous Glory, Spirit Visage, and Dead Man's. Now, Mercs, obviously for tenacity, Righteous Glory, obviously for that movement speed into your ult, and it's a pretty good item now as it does hand a little bit of armor to you as well, which is decent on Warwick. Spirit Visage, obviously for the sustainability on your Q, and Dead Man's acting again with your movement speed ganks. For the build 2, very similar. You'll be going Mercs for the tenacity, Deadman's as stated above, Spirit Visage as above, and 4-mal. Now 4-mal is a pretty interesting one, but Warwick can be kited pretty hard if the ADC does know what they're doing, because his ult is not a target ability back like Season 4 Warwick. He actually has to hit it. ADCs have a pretty high mobility if they're playing some of the ones that are in the meta at the moment, as well as taking flash. For build 3, now this is an interesting build, and this is a build I'd recommend if you know you have to like carry your game, depending on obviously who you're playing with. This is a Mercs, Black Cleaver, Deadman's, and Spirit Visage. It basically puts all the OP items onto Warwick. Now Black Cleaver is a really good item at the moment. Mercs, obviously for tenacity, Deadman's acts super well with his ult, and Spirit Visage super well with his Q. Obviously the build you choose will depend on the enemy champion lineup and who is doing well, so remember to assess the situation and go from there with your build. Okay, so we're going through the pre-game stuff now. For runes for Warwick, we'll be taking attack speed marks, scaling health seals, scaling MR glyphs, and attack speed quins. Now I'll let you know something I did find the other day when I was making this video, when I was like getting the content. I found out that AD builds, like AD Quins and AD Marks, technically give you a faster clear on the first clear by like 5 seconds. Now that is very interesting, but at the same time you realize why people were still betting attack speed, considering the rush of Tiamat, which obviously grants you faster clears further on in the game compared to AD. So I do recommend going attack speed marks, not AD. Okay, so for Masteries we take Ferocity 18 with points in Fury, Fresh Blood, 2 out of 5 points in Vampirism, 3 out of 5 points in Natural Talent, Double-Edged Sword, Piercing Thoughts, and Fervor of Battle. Now Fervor of Battle obviously goes really well with the attack speed in Warwick's kit, along with the attack speed in the runes. Then for the next 12 points we'll be taking in Resolve, with Recovery, Tough Skin, Runic Armor, and Insight. Overall, Warwick is a complete monster in the jungle, and if you are after a fun and interesting pick that will net you a positive win rate, Warwick's your man. Well, Wolf. Hope you guys have some fun picking up the hound, and good luck on the fields of justice.